where do all these HCPs come from? I mean, it just feels like there's so many people who are in unhappy relationships, be it romantic, work relationships, or even within the family. And they're, it just feels like these people are constantly looking for a fight, constantly looking to get into conflict. Where do they come from?
Well, HCPs are definitely always looking for a fight. They make
Mm-hmm.
us want to take flight.
Yeah.
They love conflict, and they're actually geared for it. They're made for it, and they're more common than you might think. 1 in 25 people that walk around on the planet are HCP. So 1 in 25 people.
Wow.
So chances are you and I are going to run into one next week. And they say 4 to 12% of CEOs are high conflict or even sociopathic in their personality makeup. That's
Gotcha.
right.
That's
So
that's a crazy statistic.
yeah, it is, isn't it? And these
Mhm.
these personality types used to be very beneficial to us and to society when we were heading out to war, and we needed
Mhm.
the frontline warriors to head out. But you know how but how do they function in today's society? Well, they test us. They create a lot of problems if we don't avoid them. And some of them can be downright dangerous and really wreak havoc or even destroy our lives. So it's a fun topic, but it's a serious topic. But your question to me was, where do they come from? And I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know if there's a little
Well,
HCP manufacturing factory out there sending them out, testing all the empaths and
yeah.
people of the world.
Well, my theory would be more along the lines of, I mean, life is both a bit of nature and nurture. And so a lot of high conflict personalities, they tend to be very insecure within themselves. And in a way, it reminds me a lot about, there's a book, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. And if anything, I think he would fit a good example. For the viewers who don't know, in this book, it's Dorian Gray is a very young, impressionable young man whose youth is probably the highlight of his entire existence, and he has two main influencers who, one representing obviously being good and compassionate and caring, and the other representing debauchery and promiscuity and all sorts of negative behaviors. His friend, who leans towards the good, paints him a portrait, and Dorian Gray, in his frustration, says, "Well, why is it that when I age, all this beauty is going to leave and the painting never goes away? The painting doesn't take the painting remains immortal. It just looks young, forever young. Why can't it be the other way, where the painting takes all the ugliness of age and I remain beautiful all the time?" So throughout the book, he goes through all these moments where he engages in more and more bad behavior and high conflict behavior. And what ends up happening is it's almost like a magic spell or something, where the portrait starts taking on those negative characteristics. You might have heard before where people say, you can look a person in the eyes and you can see on their face, the what kind of person they are. And it was very much this instance where his portrait got uglier and uglier as he engaged in more and more bad behavior, and his youth stayed with him. Now, I won't spoil how the book ends, but the where I was going with this was it's the that high conflict personality is constantly wanting to shift the blame outward. And it's largely due to a sense of internal insecurity, because they see the ugliness in them. They see that portrait of them that they have hidden in their attic, and they don't want anyone to look at them and fault them for being such a horrible person.
Well, I mean, that's beautiful story you just told and a beautiful metaphor. Kind of rings more true for me, especially for the narcissistic personality.
Hmm.
Um, but I do agree with you that HCPs have some working awareness or self-awareness, but not a lot, right?
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, that's,
I mean, it does take a great deal of humility to admit your own mistakes and admit that, that you're not perfect and that we are not always going to get things right, or sometimes we misunderstand things. Uh, and so, with those ruthless standards that they hold on themselves, they project that insecurity and anger outwards to other people, because at least that's how I've come to interpret that.
well, I mean, it's true that HCPs and especially the narcissists they are empty inside. It is sort of
Mhm.
a transference of emptiness inside. When you get into personality disorders, some like with the narcissists, they even have a lack of ability to love or feel
Mhm.
empathy for another. So all we can really do is have empathy for those individuals because they aren't able to manage their behavior. They can't manage their emotions. And really they walk through life creating problems, blaming it on someone else, pointing the finger at someone else. And they have a lot of interpersonal difficulties in their relationships. So so yeah, they have to carry that portrait with them that's rotting. And
Well,
unfortunately, these people don't really change. So that portrait is there. It's rotting. I like that as a metaphor, even just for our energetic body or our aura or our conscience, however you want to frame that. We carry that. They carry that with them, and we have to be sure
definitely.
that we don't carry that for them and create that boundary where we separate out from the HCP. It's so helpful to recognize them though first.